Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Trans-Atlantic TA GH-6015-DU. This is a 8-inch plunger type push-down door holder, and it is a very common item. These are used primarily in retail spaces. Our typical client base for this item is a retail store where they're installing this onto their stockroom door between, the retail side and their, back of house operation, so to speak. And these have been a consistent seller for years and years and years. Every week these continue to fly off the shelf. The Duronodic is a little less common finish than the aluminum, but nonetheless they're identical other than the color. So the Trans-Atlantic item is the classic sort of design by them, where you've got an 8-inch push down door bumper controlled by that spring mechanism in the back. Okay, so foot, and it's got a real good spring on it, so it's difficult to push it down by hand. Gets that pushed all the way down. The release is that trigger assembly there. Okay. It's a good spring, that's for sure. Okay. Replaceable rubber tip down here that threads on. There is a link below this video to what's called the product brochure, which doesn't really give a lot of specific information at all. It just shows the vendor's, catalog, really is all it is. Shows you some other items that are basically, related to this. Now they call it an 8-inch, and by the way, screws are included with that. You're going to get 2 long ones and a short one. The long ones are to go through the body here. The short one is for up here. Okay. The 8-inch reference is basically a reference to the overall height of the item. And while it's not exactly 8-inch, it's very close. Okay, 7 3/4. So 7 3/4. Let's get the rest of the dimension. At its widest point, you're basically dealing with something that's about 1 5/8 inches wide. Okay, up here at the top, about 1 1/8 inches. Projection from the face of the door. Body's about 1 1/8 inches. Out to about 1 5/8 inches or so, 1 9/16. So the question that people ask is, what's the projection of the item? So starting at a rest, you can see that it's 3/4 inch. We drop that all the way down. That 3/4 inch turns into basically 2 inch. So that's 1 1/4 inches roughly of telescoping travel. For standard undercuts on doors, that's going to work really well. If you've got a 3/4 inch undercut and you're going to flush this close to the door, you're going to want to keep in mind you've got a 3/4 inch undercut. If you go below that, you're going to need to get an additional 3/4 inch below that. So this tip's probably going to hang down off the bottom of the door a little bit, but your exact floor conditions, door conditions are going to determine where you locate that. When I'm installing these, I kind of make sure that I've got enough distance in travel to make firm contact, but I leave myself a little bit of pressure, a little bit of room here, so that there can be a marginal amount of compression here to hold the door firm. If this rubber tip is not firmly in contact with the door, it's not going to hold it, especially if you have a concrete floor that is sealed. That's a slippier surface. So I like to be able to have a little bit of compression here. So as you're laying that out, keep that in mind. Plus also, I just drill this top hole and I get it set marginally, and then I kind of test the operation without stressing this too much, and then I would go in and mark my other holes. As I've done this, I have a very small, thin center punch that is so small, it's smaller than a pencil, that I can fit in there and just mark my holes. I give it just a little tap, and then I use a regular center punch and then pre-drill my holes. This is how I go about installing it. Typical item, also available from Trans-Atlantic in the aluminum finish as well. The DU part of the part number becomes AL. If you have any questions on the Trans-Atlantic TA GH-6015-DU 8-inch heavy-duty plunger type door holder, or any other Trans-Atlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.